Hey, welcome to the Peaceful Spaces podcast, bringing calm to your surroundings. I'm your host, Chelsea, and today we're talking about how to recharge in the midst of a busy life season. Life can get pretty hectic sometimes, and it's important to take a step back, rest, relax, and recharge so that we can tackle whatever comes our way with renewed energy and a positive mindset. Before we dive into the tips and tricks for recharging, let's first talk about why it's so important to prioritize self-care, especially during busy seasons. Self-care is about taking care of your mental, physical, and emotional health. It's about making sure that you are taking the time to recharge and refresh so that you can tackle the challenges that come your way with a positive mindset and a clear head. It's important to remember that self-care is not just about bubble baths and massages. It's about making sure that you are taking the time to nourish yourself in ways that are meaningful and sustainable for you. This could mean anything from spending time with loved ones to taking a walk in nature or simply taking a few deep breaths. One way that I really take some time for self-care is that I have these blocks in my reflection journal where it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and 60 minutes. In those blocks, I have written out ideas of how I can spend that specific time doing a mindful activity that will recharge my batteries. One of those mindful activities is meditating on scripture. If I'm feeling particularly overwhelmed, I can grab one of my favorite scriptures and pray through them. It's also important to remember that self-care isn't just about taking time for yourself, but it's about making time for the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. And during busy times, it's really easy to let these things fall by the wayside. But by making self-care a priority, you can not only recharge and refresh, but you can also improve your overall well-being. Now that we've talked about the importance of self-care, let's talk about some practical tips for recharging during a busy life season. So one of the first things that I recommend is to prioritize rest and sleep. It's easy to push sleep to the side when life gets busy, but it's essential for both physical and mental health. Try to get at least 7 or 8 hours of sleep each night, and make sure that you are winding down before bed by reading a book, practicing meditation, or doing some gentle stretching. Maybe not scrolling on our favorite social media app. Another thing that can be really helpful during busy times is to make sure that you're eating a healthy and balanced diet. We know that eating right can help boost our energy levels and improve overall well-being. Try to incorporate plenty of fruits and vegetables into your meals and avoid sugary and processed foods as much as possible. I know that's a hard one for me because your girl loves her iced coffees. Another tip that can be really helpful is to set boundaries. It's important to know when to say no and prioritize your own well-being. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it is okay to decline invitations or to delegate tasks. Dr. Henry Cloud's book, Boundaries, When to Say Yes and How to Say No, says, workers who continually take on duties that aren't theirs will eventually burn out. It takes wisdom to know what we should be doing and what we shouldn't. We can't do everything. Creating boundaries at work can help foster a healthier relationship with your workplace. Now, that's honestly a whole other podcast episode itself, but I digress. And finally, don't forget to reach out for support when you need it. Whether it's talking to a friend or seeking the help of a therapist or asking for a coworker's help. It's important to know that you don't have to do everything on your own. Remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish. Say that again. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's necessary for you. It's necessary for your own well-being and the well-being of those around you. Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of the Peaceful Spaces podcast. I hope that these tips and tricks have been helpful for recharging during a busy season. Don't forget to take care of yourself, prioritize self-care, and reach out for support when you need it. Join me next time for more tips and advice on creating a peaceful home and how to live in harmony with your surroundings.